Keenan Allen, number 12. Man, also number 12 on the consistency charts. 13% of his games busted.
Which is a very good number.
Yeah. As far as a low amount. 56% were good. And then just 13% of his games were great. He did not have, outside of week 13 where he put up 30 fantasy points, did not have a tremendous amount of those kind of week-winning type of weeks that you saw from guys like Tyreek Hill or Amari Cooper.
Or Keenan Allen last year.
So do you read into that as a big negative, Mike, with Phillip Rivers getting up there in age? He was 97 for 1196 and 6. That's disappointing too,
right,
on 136 targets.
I don't. I like the fact that about halfway through the season, you had a full squeaky wheel gets the grease, where Keenan Allen essentially told Phillip Rivers, throw me the ball. And then you had a huge stretch run from weeks 9 through 14 where he was averaging over 19 fantasy points per game. In that stretch, he was the wide receiver too. Tyrell Williams, we'll see what his status is coming back to the Chargers. Does it go back? Will it be just Keenan Allen and Mike Williams as the primary wide receivers? So I think that Keenan Allen, this is a good range for him.
Let me ask you guys the same question. Do you want Keenan Allen as your wide receiver 1 in 2019?
No.
Are you content with that?
I mean, yeah, I would be content with that depending on where he falls, but he's not who I would want. I would want someone a step above. You did see, I mean, look, this is the second year in a row where Keenan Allen's been meh in the first half of the season, right, and really took it to that next level the second half, and there's a place for that. But in fantasy, when your playoffs are starting around week 13, the first half of the year matters so much more than the second half. You can't win the championship if you don't get to the playoffs. And
trust me, I've tried.
Through the first half of the year, the real issue was touchdowns, right? Keenan Allen had one touchdown through the first 8 games. I believe that came in week 1, and he was the wide receiver 30. So, I mean, I had him on that team that I thought was going to dominate, that completely just imploded, and Keenan was part of that. I think there are enough weapons there where, can he be the number 1? Absolutely. Can he be a number 1? Yes. Will he always? Probably not.
Weeks 9 through 14, he was second, the wide receiver 2 in that span, 19.2 fantasy points per game. So that was his a run of basically 6 straight games where he was on fire. And then kind of when people, pretty much when we were saying, like, do you give up on him now as being that top-tier guy?
On top of that, the final 3 games, he injured himself in week 15 and came back. You didn't think he was actually going to play, so it's very possible that he could have just continued his very hot stretch there if he hadn't had the, I think it was a hip pointer.
I mean, yeah, just 2 catches in the playoff game as well.
Career year from Phillip Rivers. No Hunter Henry. A lot of things actually went positively for Keenan Allen.
Yeah, and I think Mike Williams over the second half of the year, he's somebody to look at next year. They're gonna the kind of targets he gets in the red zone. If he can be a high volume guy, he's gonna be big.
Hey everybody, Mike from the Fantasy Footballers here. I'm glad you watched that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button below.